Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to our Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. I pay my obeisances to our 12 Alvars. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome you physically here at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that are watching this discourse locally, nationally and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube, TikTok and the various groups from around the world subsequently. A special welcome to my two guests from the Freedom Front Plus, and we have great gratitude in you responding to our invitation in such a short time, and we respect your attendance today. And I want to give a little background in my relationship, especially with the Afrikaner community. So, 1983, I joined the South African Police Force, SAP it was called then. By accident, it's another story, but I was posted at SAP Bria 182 Botanical Gardens Road. And this is where I learned manners. This is where I learned manners. And I've stated, I think, in our first interfaith and multiracial gathering here at the ashram, I said every community has or every race has something unique to offer humanity. I said that I learned manners from the white racial grouping. I learned loyalty from the black racial grouping. I learned to make a plan from my own racial grouping. And I learned to have a party from the colored racial grouping. All right? So all the races have a uniqueness, and if we embrace these four qualities that I described, it will make you a evolved human being. And as I am stating, I learned manners because even today, if you go to a robo, if you see an Indian beggar, and if you don't have money for him, he'll be very disappointed and he'll walk away. You'll see a colored beggar, same story. You see a black beggar, same story. But when you are confronted with a white beggar and you tell him, sorry, we don't carry change anymore, we carry cards, he'll say, it's not your fault, sir. Thank you very much. Yes or no? Have you not experienced this? Even at the state of begging, a white man still has dignity and respect. And this is what we need to entrench in our life. We need to take from each other the positive attributes that God has ordained each race with. All of you understand? So, my very first experience, which have made a permanent mark on my soul, is that there was a warrant officer, Voigt, Voigt. You know the surname? And he used to be a policeman that was very seldom at the station. Every time there was a posting to the borders or a request for border duty, he would take that request. For, I think they paid 5 Rand a day extra. I'm talking in 1983. To be at the border, 5 or 6 Rand extra, and he would go and take. So he would spend at least 6 months at the border and 6 months at the station. Can you imagine his status quo as a human being? A military man, every 3 months going to the border and coming back. A South African white. Can you understand his mental temperament? What do you think his behavior would be? How militant you think he would be? I'm going to tell you why. Those of you that are older than in Warwick Avenue, there were these homeless that would build shelters on the pavement of the bridges in Warwick Avenue around the market. And this was our jurisdiction. And these were homeless people. They would not bath regularly because of their status in life. So I was in the charge office, and a female, black female, who was living in this homeless shelter walked into the charge office. So I think there were about 4 or 3 of us. We were called charge office reserves at that point in time. So you'll have a white gentleman that will be the charge office commander, and then we would form the reserves. So if an Indian came to the charge office, it would be my duty as an Indian to interact, and if a white came in, then the white would interact with the white, and if there was a black complainant, then the black would interact with the black. So I'm seated in the charge office. I know this lady. I know she lives in this shelter. She's in my jurisdiction. She's not smelling very good, and she walks into the charge office, and Warrant Officer Voigt, is it Voigt? Warrant Officer Voigt is at the counter, and he greets her with love from the bottom of his heart. He says, "Ma'am, how can I help you?" And he gets a black guy to interpret so that he can give her his 100%. Is it not standing out for you? When this was not normal, here's a man who is militant. Remember, he goes to the border every 3 months and come back. But his heart was as soft as butter when it came to the complainant. Then Mataji and myself, Mataji is my wife, we had a relationship with many white policemen from the station. They would come home. Remember, this was strictly during apartheid time. This was not normal. They would come home, we would share meals. We didn't see in my relationship from SAP Bria any racism. And this was long before our so-called democracy. Because a good human, a divine human, cannot be stuck in his race or what society prescribes his race to be. A divine human is a divine human. And I hope wherever Mr. Fucht is, Warrant Officer Fucht, I wish God gives him a long and healthy life, because one of the reasons I am seated here today has been impelled by him. I could have gone and thought in any direction, you understand. I was in my 20s. And people, when they make impression in you when you are in your youth, then they carve out a GPS for you in life. I worked at SAP Bria. I effected over 1,000 Schedule 1 arrests. I resigned after 10 years and I ran my own business from the same area where I was a policeman. I was not attacked by any of those gangsters. I disbanded 4 major gangsters that were in the Warwick Triangle. And when I became an ordinary citizen, I went into the business of minibus taxis. I used to drive my taxi in the same area, and I was not attacked once. And when I passed these people that I arrested previously, they would scream out, "How's it, Sarge?" knowing that I had left the police force. But it was not me. It was Warrant Officer Fucht. It was Captain Visser, whilst I was there, Visser, Afrikaans. Captain Visser simply loved me. I had an unmarked police car. I worked my own hours. He used to only see his monthly quota. I promised him 600 arrests a month, and all he needed was his 600 arrests a month. And it was my wife that took me out of this glorious job. She went up to Captain Visser and she asked him, "What type of job is my husband doing? Because I see him drunk years and years. I don't know whether he's working or whether he's not working, but every day he's drunk. And he has an official police car." And he got afraid. And he said, "Ma'am, what can I do?" She said, "Make him work office hours with you." And then he calls me, trembling. He is my captain. He said, "Sing, your wife was here. What should we do?" I said, "Sir, I'll work with you." So I started working with him. I started wearing my uniform again. He was a neatly dressed. Dana, you met him? Absolutely neatly dressed. His shoes used to shine. Even the strip at the back of the police shoe, parabellum, the strip at the back, it used to shine. So I picked up all the manners and mannerisms from these 2 great gentlemen. I'm seated here today and I'm proud to state that these 2 Afrikaners molded my life in terms of my militancy, in terms of my discipline, in terms of me saying please and thank you. Even today with my boys that's working, I have not raised my voice. I have not sworn anyone. Even with my devotees, thousands have passed through my hands. I've always been disciplined. And in our tradition, once you're a guru, it is taken for granted that you must not tell your disciples thank you. And when I went to India and I was telling people in India thank you, they were getting very upset because a guru is not allowed to say thank you. But this thank you, this discipline, this man I am today has been shaped, this character that you see, the essence of this character has been shaped by these two great Afrikaners that I met in my life in my 20s. And in this, with this in mind, with this consciousness, I embrace our two gentlemen from the Freedom Front today. And if the country takes the positives from every community, as I have done, take the positives from every community and imbibe it in your lifestyle, imbibe it as a society, imbibe it as a humanity, how much more valuable each of us can become whilst retaining your own status quo. You remain an Afrikaner, I remain an Indian, but we exchange our uniqueness with each other. How much more this South Africa can gain if we take the positive attributes of each other on a daily basis. How much more divine, how much more positivity within this consciousness of this country can we experience. We were having a discussion whilst I was waiting for some very important devotees to arrive, Avir. And we said that religion taken out of context divides people. We need to get to the soul of each religion. And the soul of each religion is the same. They teach you righteousness. All religions teach you righteousness. And that is the synthesis that I am today trying to bring about. And I've explained to my brothers that I might not see the shade, or I might not enjoy the shade of the seed that I have planted. But somebody has to do this. 5 days ago, they never thought they would be sitting in an ashram. You understand? And today, we have harmonized as two different, distinct cultures. We have harmonized. It's an experience that I am reliving. I had this, fortunately I was able to have this interaction 40 years ago at a military base. And today I'm reciprocating and I'm hoping that this interaction can continue and we show the world that there is a possibility for social cohesion beyond religion and beyond politics. Politics and religion, if not handled properly, can be very, very dangerous. But if we mature humans and humanity in society, if we just change 1 degree, we don't want to change too much. If we change 1 degree and measure 1 degree at the end of the year, if you take a protractor and if you get your months, January to December, and plot your 1 degree, in December we would have moved quite a bit. You don't have to change, make dramatic and drastic changes. You just have to make a small change. The Supreme Lord will do the rest. The Lord is waiting for humanity to come to its senses. The Lord is patiently waiting for humanity to come to its senses. As soon as we come to our senses, the Lord will do the rest. Do you believe in it, my friend? Yes. No matter what we do, if it is not rubber stamped by the Lord, all our efforts will be in vain. So this is my mission. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to try to bring people of different races, different cultures, different ideologies, different understandings together. I'm going to try and infuse in the political arena political cohesion. Try and infuse in the political arena political cohesion. Everything starts at the top, and right at the top is the government. And if the attitude and consciousness of the government is positive, it will filter down to the provinces, filter down to the wards, and filter down in our communities. And these are the leaders that are elected by their own vote banks. So it was natural. Those of us that have studied politics, it was natural for the ANC to come into government. And if we studied politics, it was natural for them to fail. It was natural for them to fail. It was only how long it took them to fail. Because if you study the history of Africa, all liberation movements that became governments failed. You don't blame the human factor. You don't blame the human factor. I can't take a drill. I can't take a drill and give it to my brother and tell him to fix cupboards on my wall in the ashram. Brother, will you be able to fix cupboards? No, you're not a carpenter. We need a carpenter, a qualified carpenter who knows how to use a laser level. We're using laser levels now. The power drill with the hilti, he knows what's a hilti. He'll use the bit, the right bit, he'll use the right level, and he'll fix the cupboard because he has experience and qualification in fixing the cupboard. And this is why the Freedom Front Plus is the only political party that has grown from 1994 up until today. They have grown because they know what bit to use, they know what drill to use, and they know what level to use to fix that. Because they were the Conservative Party. Dana, you remember the Conservative Party years ago? So they have been in government, they had experience in government, And they are continuing. National Party collapsed. No difference in the functioning of the DA from the ANC. They're just on different sides of the coin. You understand? So we have to be realist. We have to be realist. But I still love the ANC. I still love the DA. They're going to be here tomorrow. And but as I explained to my brothers, I am a realist. We need to put the absolute truth on the table and see how we can fix the truth whilst it's here. So it's very difficult for me as a spiritual leader to infuse politics and invite the 10 main political parties to the ashram. You understand? So navigating this in such a way that at the end there is cohesion is something we have to wait and see, which will take some time. So my brothers didn't know they enter in a ashram. They didn't know what speech to prepare, because when you speak from the heart, you're always going to hear the truth. When you speak from the heart, you're always going to hear the truth. Yes? Yes. But they braved themselves. They are here today, and they promised me that they are going to be here tomorrow as well. So I think in this 30 years, of democracy, we have learnt everything. All our failures, all our mistakes, we have experienced and learnt everything. And because I'm on social media, this discourse, both your speech and my speech, snippets of it will go on TikTok. This will enliven people that are depressed. Today in our country as a whole, we are a depressed country. Yes, we are in a state of depression. But we need not be in a state of depression because we have medication. We have medication and we have a pharmacy where we can get our medication so that we can come out of this depression. The medication you can get in May 2024. May 2024, and the pharmacy is our elections. Our election, and the medication is so simple. So simple, you just have to make a cross and the depression will evaporate. Make a cross and the depression of this entire country will evaporate. Is it not so simple? Yes. So instead of sitting and being disappointed, God has given each citizen in South Africa the greatest tool to remove those that are not functioning in our country. And just to break it down before our guest speaker takes the mic from me, are you not a preacher? Thank you, because I'm afraid to give preachers my mic. When you give a preacher a mic, and it was stated by a preacher himself, I think 2 or 3 years ago, he said it is very dangerous to give a preacher a mic. Okay? So, in this 30 years, we should have learned that we are the employers of every politician that work in government. We should have learned that. It is our money that pays the salary to any government employee that earns a salary is paid by the citizenry. The citizens pay the salary. And whoever earns a salary from government is employed by the citizens of South Africa. We need to know this because there is a culture in this government today, the ANC government. They have created a culture whereby you must have gratitude if they fix a pothole in your road. You must have gratitude, yes? You must have gratitude if they fix a burst pipe. They want us to have gratitude through our own investment. No member of the ANC government currently has any shares in this country, in the government department. There are no shares. Revenues picked up, 75% in the pocket, 25% given back to the country. Yes? But whose revenue is being picked up? Whose revenue? Yes. There is a lack, and thank God an attorney just walked in. An attorney just walked in. If all the attorneys, senior counsel, advocates get together and go through the municipal laws, the provincial laws, the national laws, and charge these people for stealing our money. It is in the hands of lawyers. There's my son seated right in the back there. He's an attorney. And he walked in the wrong moment. He just walked in. All right? There is enough law in this country. You don't even need the elections to break this government into fragments, because they are stealing. They are stealing our money. We're not taking them to court. We are not taking them to court enough. You understand? We have allowed them ourselves to be bullied by the caretakers of our own money. This is what it really is. We have allowed ourselves to be bullied by caretakers of our own money. ANC has no money. DA has no money. All the money that comes into the coffers of this country belongs to you and I. Our problem is that we have left people to do whatever they want with our money collectively. Yes? Yes, my brothers? Yes, this is how simple it is. So I said, instead of remaining in a state of depression for the rest of our lives in South Africa, if we don't want our country to become Zimbabwe, then 2024, just one pen and one cross can change the dynamics of this country. One pen, one cross will change the dynamics of this country so that we all can live in prosperity. As a guru, I have potency to evolve you spiritually. But when you go out there, a pastor has potency to evolve you spiritually, so does a rabbi, and so does a Molana. But it's only in our churches, in our mosques, in our ashrams. When you go down into society, these people are still running the show there, yes or no? So our blessings get dissipated when you go out into the community again, yes or no? So we need to change the main infrastructure. And the only way we can change the main infrastructure is by you understanding the policies and ideologies of the different political parties. Understanding that there is an alternative and there is hope. On that note, I would like our guest speaker, you have no time limit. You can speak and say all that you need to say to our audience. Thank you.
Thanks, Guru. While you were speaking the last 5 minutes, a lot of thoughts came into my mind, and I thought, let me just jot it down quickly because I'm going to forget everything I wanted to say. So, obviously, you guys know that we are from the Freedom Front. We are a Christian-based organization. People say, yeah, you must keep politics and Christianity apart. But you know what? To be honest with you, politics decide where you send your child to school. Politics decide where you build your church. Politics decide, can you buy something during COVID, your shoes? Politics decide it. So religion and politics go like this. We can say it's separate and we want to try and keep it separate, but it works together. You can say you're finished with politics, but let me tell you something. Politics is not finished with you. Yeah. This country of ours, I thank you that you invited us, Guru. And I truly believe that what you say is a fact. You know what, this is one of the greatest countries in the world. I work for a Swedish company. I'm a councillor for the municipality. I'm new, so I don't know a lot. I've only been a councillor for the last year. But I work for a Swedish company for the last 17 years. I've also been a cop before that, also for 17 years, so we share the background. But let me tell you, traveling Europe and those places, this is still one of the greatest places we've got on earth. I kid you not. And it's not just about the weather that we've got here, the infrastructure, it's the people. We've got it all. But I think we've lost it along the way. How to use it, how to put it to use. You don't, if you're going to plow a field, you're not going to use your horse to plow the field. You're going to use your ox. If you want to go visit your friend, you're not going to climb on your ox to go and visit your friend. You're going to use your horse. And also when you plow your field, you're not going to take the horse and the ox and put them together and strut them on their necks to plow the field, because it's not going to work. We've got the people, we need to know where to put your people. There's horses for courses, not that I'm a gambler or anything like that, it's against my religion, so I don't gamble. But there's horses, some animals you can do a certain thing with it, others can't. And it's the same with people. We've got all the people, we've got the knowledge. I mean, my mother, the first open heart surgery was performed on my mother by Dr. Christian Barnard years ago. This was the first open heart surgery in the world. In the world, done here in South Africa. There's a company in Durban, I won't mention the name now, one of my customers, a company, they've recently moved to Umhlanga. They make the F-16's missile guidance systems for the Americans, technologically advanced. Gets made in this country. We have got the people, we've got the infrastructure. We had rainbow chickens, we had Eskom changed to Mittal, failed. We had Eskom, we had Portnet, Transnet, Spoornet. The post office is busy failing now, getting bail. SAA, 11 bailouts for SAA. Stuff that was working perfectly. And yet, we've got it all, but we're not utilizing it. We want to break down and socially divide because of color and race and skin. I said to Guru earlier, some of my friends, I've got British friends, and my colleague sitting here is an Englishman. 100 years ago, in Talana Museum in Dundee, we were shooting each other. They were on the hill and we were at the bottom. We went to visit the gravesites. That was 100 years ago. The British came here and colonized our country. Me as a bit Afrikaner, our women and children were put in concentration camps by the British. But yet, here's my best friend. I'm married to an Englishman. My wife is English. If my grandmother knows I'm married to an Englishman, she will turn in a grave. Those days it was the Ossewa Brandwag and those things, you know. It was like the English is out. It's like the language of... But times have changed, you know. We move on. We can't live in the past. We need to focus on the future. Yes, know where you come from. Know your history. Because your history dictates your future. You can't just rub it off and wipe it out and say it never happened. It happened. Learn from it. But move on. Don't get hung up on it. If you're stuck in the past, are you going to move forward? If you keep looking back, when you're running a race and you want to get to the front there, do you keep looking back? Where's the guy behind you? No, you focus on the front. And not just that. In that sense also, our treasure is not here, our treasure is in heaven. But we are here to respect one another. And as a party, that's what we stand for as well. We embrace, I mean, although we are a Christian party, I'm not for gays and lesbians, I'm against it. But we've got gays and lesbians in our party as well. As long as you don't enforce it on me, don't tell me I must change my ways because of your thing. Do your thing, but don't enforce it on me. Same with us here. I think that's part of the problem with the new government is the forced integration. You know, at my office I've got a big map that's about 30 years old. And on that map you've still got Bishu, Transkei, Ciskei, Venda. All part of South Africa. But we've changed it, we've taken those people's identities away and we've made it one country and forced ourselves in between everything. And we've lost our identity. Our Guru says we can learn from each other. We can work together. Because you know something I don't know, and I might know something that you don't know. But if we're not able to speak about it and be open about it, how are we going to progress? If we're going to be looking at after skin color in everything we do, we are God's people. We are God's people. We're one race. We're the human race. Not black and white and pink and purple. If you cut us open, we all bleed red. Eh? Same blood runs through all our veins. From a Christian perspective, I mean, where do we come from? Adam. Then God wiped the earth with Noah in the flood. But from there, we all come from. There's no bang, there's another evolved human being that was just pushed out of. We come from one origin. We're all together. That's what we feel, what we stand for. But before I carry on, I just want to, while Guru was speaking, talking about the laws. Say, son is a lawyer. We have in this country probably of the best laws. I think we've got laws to govern the laws in this country. The problem is we don't have the people to enforce it. And that's where the lack is. People, like I said, diverse and the best. We've got skills in this country. We've got engineers. We've got brilliant. You know what? I was sitting at the ANC. We had the mayor of Stanger. We had a meeting at the ICC, and he said to me, he wished one day. He's a Zulu guy, so he says he wished one day he could have a vehicle called the Mbalazi, because then the ANC would have done what they want to do. You know, they've succeeded. When a South African can be there and have a vehicle with the name of a South African on it, So I couldn't resist. I had to put my hand up and say to him, "Sir, beg your pardon. Did you know we've got a South African? There's a mountain on Mars that's named after him. South African. Don't know about it." I said, "Not just that, take it a step further. We've got a South African that's building power stations in the desert, probably the biggest power stations, power plants in the desert. We've got a South African that's sending rockets to Mars. He's got the biggest tender with NASA. He's building rockets for NASA. So we've got a South African that builds the best electrical cars in the world, what you just mentioned. His name's Elon Musk. But because the color of his skin, he's not in this country. He's out of this country. And that's another problem that we've got in this country. These guys that's in power, like I say, we've got the infrastructure. Rainbow Chickens that was up the road closed down. All this other power plants and things like that. We're importing chickens from Brazil. We're importing steel from China. We had metal here, ISCO, steel, changed to metal. Indian people. We ran it into the ground. Why? No. We can import steel from China, not the greatest quality that we manufacture here, but you know what, some politician can get something in the back pocket. While our people are suffering here. I mean, our rules and our laws and regulations are supposed to put import duties on those people so that we can manufacture this stuff here and create employment for our own people. We want to create jobs for our people here, not create employment over there in China. There's three bridges being built now in Durban by the Chinese. They got the contracts. What's wrong with our people? We've got over 50% unemployment. But we want to get other people to come into our country and build the stuff here, while our people are suffering, while they sit at home. How's that right? And then these guys that in power want to tell me that they're there for you. They want to look after you. They want to give you 350 Rand a month, social grant. And then they proud themselves of, I think there's 17 million people on social grants at the moment. And that's something to make them proud. Yet more than 50% is unemployed. I would rather have a person be employed, give him a real bloody job, instead of giving 350 Rand a day, a month, on a social grant. And then you say yourself, look how good I am, I gave this guy 350 Rand a month for a social grant. That guy can earn that in a day, if he had his own job. But you see, also the other thing is, if he had his own job, earning his own money, I can't control him. But if he has to stand like this in front of me, I can control him. Especially when you guys are here. I mean, you just look down the road here, what's happening to your neighborhood here. Yet you guys sitting here are the royal ratepayers to this municipality. You guys aren't the rubbish, the skabengas, the looters. You guys pay your rates. But yet your money gets taken to pay for free water, free electricity for vagrants and immigrants at your expense. And then you don't get the services, you don't get the potholes fixed at your expense. Yet you are the loyal one. I mean, that is a plan that's not going to work. A simple analogy, one time there was a teacher and he said to his class, let's see if the socialist experiment is going to work. Okay, so what we're going to do is, we're going to write this first exam now. Then after the exam, socialism, we're going to do the people that failed, we're not going to fail them. We're going to take the people that got 95% and above, we're going to give them 80% and take that 15% and give it to the people that failed to bring them up a level. Okay, so that everybody can pass. Okay, so first exam, great, it works. People failed, take the marks from the top, give it to the bottom guys, everybody passed. Like, great, this socialism is a good thing, man. Go. Come to the second exam, The guys that got 95% skim now, hey, but you know what, last time I studied my backside off to get 95%. But I got 80% at the end of the day anyway. So I'm only going to maybe put in 80% work. Okay. The guys that got 35% thought, hey, I studied nothing and I passed because I got the marks from these acts. Why should I study now? So they didn't study. So come to the second exam. The guys that used to get 95% got 50% because they didn't put the effort in. The guys that got nothing, but got the guys at the bottom that got the 95, that got the marks from the 95%, because they knew they were going to get the guys from the top learners, didn't study at all. So their level went down as well. The guys in the middle that got the 50%, they also think, hey, listen here, why must we study? We're going to get the marks of the guys that studying anyway to pass us through. So well, they also didn't study. So you know what happened in the second exam? Everybody failed. The whole thing came down. So that's the proof socialism cannot work. You need people that can work. You need ingenuity. You need hardworking people. And yet again, we're not all the same. In my industry, there's people that are machine operators. They sit in a console. It looks like a cab, like a PlayStation console with computer screens around them, and they're pulling levers. They love it. I mean, it's the best thing. Aircon, they got the music going there, computer screen just pushing buttons, and they're operating this drill rig, doing their work. I can't do that. I'll do that for 8 hours and I'll go out of my mind, man. I want to be out there. I want to be doing things. Building cupboards. I like that. That's what I want to do. So the thing is to know these people and apply them. And with us in South Africa, we've got all these people, we've got all these races, we've got the knowledge, we've got the infrastructure. Let's use it to our benefit. In resources, I mean, my goodness, this country, we've got gold, we've got manganese, we've got silver, coal. Everybody is running away from coal. You know what? We've got coal. Let's use it. The Germans, it's telling us, they've just given us, 5 billion for us to switch to renewable energy because of carbon emissions. They've just, in this last year, started up 17 new coal-fired power stations. But we mustn't use it. And we want to export our coal to them. So our high-grade coal goes to the European Union while our people are suffering and we're sitting in load shedding. I mean, how does that work? But you know what, just follow the money. Just follow the money. Before I close, 2 things. Democracy. You know, everybody talks about democracy. We want to be democratic elected. Let me tell you something. Democracy is a fallacy. Democracy does not exist. I'm open for debate. Show me one country in this world. Show me one single country where democracy is working, where everybody is equal. I mean, democracy tells you we're all equal, like on a matrix system. You know, where you and I are all on the same level. Your son's a lawyer. I'm not on his level. I'm good with my hands. He's not on my level. There's things I can do, and there's things you can do. My wife and I am not we're not equal. There's things she can do, and there's things I can do. My son and I is not equal. My boss and me is not equal. Yet the Bible tells me, he's your boss, do what he says. Because our reward is not here, the reward is in heaven. But the point I'm trying to make here is democracy is a fallacy. We're not all equal. Show me one country where the people are equal. The president, the mayors, the people on the street, the beggars, the workers are all equal. There's no country in the world. It is all a hierarchy, working from the top down. So don't be fooled by when people tell you democracy and you want to feel it in your heart here, ooh, now I'm feeling so good because I'm democratic and I'm doing the right thing. It doesn't work. You and your wife is not equal. Your wife is the boss. You've got the permission to say you're the boss. I'm joking. And in closing, everybody, when things don't go their way, wants to go and strike and burn tires and what. You know what? If things aren't going your way, now think of this. Okay, so now you've lost services here. The infrastructure is going down. Now the community gets together and decide, okay, now we got to show this municipality something. So let's get together. We got to go and get a few tires. We got to go get some petrol. We're here like 4 o'clock in the morning and we're going to close the road, set the tires alight, we're going to break some barriers, so we're going to damage the infrastructure. Besides that, it took you time to go and get the petrol, it cost you money to get the petrol, it cost you time to get the tires, you've got to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, you've got to mobilize the community, you've got to go out there in the dark 4 o'clock in the morning to close the road, then you're going to burn the road in front of your house, damage your own infrastructure. So tomorrow for the next year or whatever, when you come home fetching your kids from school, you've got to drive through the pothole that you burned in your own road, in front of your own street. There's a much simpler solution. Besides then, you also stand a chance of being locked up if the police comes in and catches you. There's a much simpler solution to doing all that. Take half an hour. Next year, go and make your cross. Go stand in that queue peacefully for half an hour and make your cross somewhere else. Go and see, go and find a party. I'm not saying we can't fix everything. I mean, I can't, if the ANC had to give me into Zuma now, I'd say I can't. I don't know the people. I need to get someone out of that area to say, you come, you're the leader in that area. You come and tell me, what do you guys need? How do you guys work? I can't do it. You can't put me in charge of Ntuzuma. You know what I mean? You need to find someone in that area that knows the people, knows their concerns, knows what is needed in that area to run that place for you. We can't run it for you. But the point I'm trying to make is, go and find a party that ticks your boxes. What is important for you? For me, safety. I want safety to be able to work. I want education for my kids. I want a proper education for my kids, not a bloody 34% pass rate and think it's okay. And you can't go out of the country and find any other job because your level of education is low. I want to be able to choose where I work, when I work, where I send my kids to school, and not be forced by someone else to tell me, hey, can you imagine, you guys are Hindus, can you imagine the government forcing you to put your child into a Afrikaans school? Because it's happening. Forced integration is happening today. You can't choose where you send your kids to school. You've got to send your kid in the area where you live, and then they tell you specifically which school to go to. You can't choose. So look for a party that ticks your boxes, that ticks those things that's important for you, and vote for them. One thing I want to tell you, sorry, in closing again. One thing I want to say to you, you must remember, voting in this country, in the last elections, only 26% of people voted. 26% of the people voted, and that gave the ANC a 58% majority. Okay. But if I had to take a pizza, yeah, there's a pizza here. This is the voter pie. Okay. If we cut this in 3 pieces, I get a piece, you get a piece, Guru gets a piece. Okay. So that's the size of the voter, the importance of voting in South Africa. So with your piece, you can put in what is important for you into local government. You want schools, you want police, you want this, you want that. In Guru's piece, he's third of the slice. He can put in what he wants. He can tick the boxes what's important for him, and he can have his say in the community, in parliament, in government. My third piece, I can have my say what's important for me in parliament. But now, if you decide no, I'm not going to vote, what happens to that pie? The pie size stays the same, but we cut it in half. Your voice is lost. That pie, Guru gets a piece, I get a piece. So we decide your destiny, because you have no voice. Make sure you are registered, and make sure you go and vote and be heard. you have a voice. Thank you.
I want to thank you, my brother. I think you reached out, and I'm sure these sentiments will stay etched in the minds of people that are listening to this discourse. This is a spiritual discourse. It is ordained by the Supreme Lord. The Lord is waiting for all His children to come together. And the result for all the citizens in South Africa is that the gold reserves, the diamond reserves, and the metal reserves, the coal reserves, can you put a figure to it? And divide that by 59 million citizens. Each of us is a multi-millionaire in our own right by being citizens of this country. Each one of us is a deserving multi-millionaire. This is where the Lord dispensed us. This country belongs to the Lord. The minerals belong to the Lord. Everything contained with this country belongs to the Lord. And like a father, when he distributes his estate to his kids, he makes sure he gives all his children equally. Yes or no? Why shouldn't the wealth of this country be divided equally amongst us? And I've stated this some years ago. Simply by being a citizen in South Africa, you don't have to be educated. You are a multi-millionaire. Now we need the operators called politicians. The operators called politicians to make sure that this can happen. And it's a reality, it can happen. It can happen. It is very simple. And it can happen with your cross. Just that cross can bring you closer to your prosperity. So I want to thank our guest. Your sacrifice will not go in vain. You're sacrificing a Saturday. You coming to a place you never thought you would ever visit in your life. You're in an ashram today. You've sacrificed, you've left your family, you've come here, but your party is going to prosper. It's on its road to prosperity, and I'm sure that with the current dynamics, that one day, I have my own party as well. One day my party and your party will be seated at a table and working out the dynamics for the ordinary citizen. And I'm sure the day is going to come soon where we will be on that huge oval table. And lastly, I want to state that for a coalition government to work, and we're experiencing this, we must not have a Mickey Mouse coalition where mayors are being changed every day. For a coalition government to work, that coalition agreement must be thrashed out before the elections. It must be thrashed out before the elections, and it must have a lifespan of 5 years. So you can't sell your soul. You can't sell your soul. So, like-minded political parties, if you got 10 steps and 10 things that you want to do, and you meet other parties and they have 10 things that they want to do, and if you match more than 5, if you match more than 5. You won't get 2 parties getting 10 out of 10 equally. Then you rather merge and be one party. Your uniqueness is in your slight difference above. So if you get 5 parties that have 6 common goals, you're going to make a powerful coalition, a force to be reckoned with. Your differences will be your uniqueness for your vote banks. Your differences will be your uniqueness for your vote banks, and your similarities will be your strength to govern successfully. Jai Shriman Narayan, and thank you very much.